Protect your DNA. BioPQQ can promote formation of new mitochondria. Infowarsstore.com.
Well, Hillary Clinton is seeing her poll numbers in a free fall. 40% of her supporters are now saying, you know what, I'm not so sure about Hillary Clinton. Following this announcement from the FBI that they're going to reactivate her investigation, they're saying, what's going on here? Well, Hillary Clinton has made the rounds today to tell everyone, look away from the burning dumpster fire. There's nothing to see here. This email scandal is a distraction. There is no case. So this is her on the campaign trail there in Ohio. She says, I'm sure a lot of you may be asking what this new email story is about. Why in the world the FBI would decide to jump into an election with no evidence of any wrongdoing with just days to go? Well, that's because you should have been indicted a long time ago. That's the only mistake that they have made by pulling this out, just a week or so before the election. They should have indicted you months ago. That's the big issue here. But she just says, they're not going to find anything, just like last time. Look away. In these last days, let's not get distracted from the real choice in this election and the consequences for your future. Meanwhile, Hillary Clinton herself and all of her minions have gone full tinfoil hat. They're pulling out all of the conspiracy theories they can possibly muster. Of course, they've been pushing this Russian agent thing. People have even been calling James Comey, saying that he's in cahoots with the Russians now. But last night I was seeing on Twitter, just thinking, oh goodness, oh Lord, what is going on now? They were really pushing this story about this Russian server that was allegedly inside of Trump Tower. And she tweets this out. It's time for Trump to answer serious questions about his ties to Russia. And then she goes on to point out he has a secret server. Yes, Donald Trump. Okay, so first of all, Hillary Clinton is basically making the case that someone would have a secret server for nefarious reasons, not because it was just convenient. So here, once again, she's saying, well, yeah, I have a secret server. Well, you have a secret server, and it's nefarious, and you're talking to the Russians. So, and of course, this is after Harry Reid says to the FBI, demands that, tell the world what it is you're holding out against Trump and the Russians. So they're really going. Let me just tell you, this was from one anonymous veteran spy who gave the scoop to Slate.com and to Mother Jones, okay? These are the sites that are like breaking this big scoop about this Russian server, okay? Well, so then the New York Times comes out and the FBI, immediately debunks this, and they're like, look, we investigated Donald Trump. The FBI sees no clear link to Russia. So you just know Hillary Clinton is going, rats, spoiled again. I would have tricked you if it weren't for those pesky kids. So the FBI is talking about, for much of the summer, they were pursuing a widening investigation into the Russian role in the American presidential campaign. Agents scrutinized advisors close to Trump. They looked for financial connections with Russian financial figures. They searched for those involved in hacking the computers of Democrats and even chased a lead, which they ultimately came to doubt, about a possible secret channel of email communication from the Trump organization to a Russian bank. Law enforcement officials say none of those investigations have found any conclusive or direct link between Mr. Trump and the Russian government. My goodness. So there you go, debunked. But they really tried to come out hardcore last night in the final hours pushing this Russian agent story, but that wasn't going to work. So then they had to roll out this other story in the New York Times. Donald Trump used a legally dubious method to avoid paying taxes decades ago. So Donald Trump, a billionaire, uses a loophole that's legally available to any billionaire decades ago. This loophole has since been outlawed, of course, but at the time, it was completely legal. It was readily available to any billionaire to exploit this tax loophole to where he didn't have to pay a dime. Now, I don't like it, but we all know it's happening. That's why I'm saying I'm not going to be surprised by what I find in some billionaires' tax returns. This is why I was really supporting Rand Paul in his calls for a flat tax to just eliminate this grotesquely insane tax code we have that, of course, people who make a lot of money and companies and others are going to exploit. Heck, I try to pay the least amount of taxes as I possibly can. So it doesn't surprise me someone paying billions would exploit a loophole. And of course, this is what Donald Trump pointed out in the debate. This is a loophole that Hillary Clinton failed to close during her years in the United States Senate. Why didn't she close those loopholes? But meanwhile, not only has Hillary Clinton herself used similar loopholes to avoid paying taxes, her Wall Street fundraising actually benefited from a loophole in a federal anti-corruption rule. So this is a Securities and Exchange Commission. They enacted this rule to stop campaign donations to public officials from financial firms seeking to convince those officials to hire them to manage public employees' retirement assets. So this was a pay-to-play rule. It applied to restrictions to state and local officials, but not to federal agencies. They could still be kind of bankrolled. And that's exactly what they've done. Top officials from the investment firm BlackRock hosted Hillary Clinton at campaign fundraisers earlier this year. They basically bankrolled her campaign. She's raised more than $1 million from financial firms that are contracted to manage these assets. And so this is the same thing we saw with President Obama. BlackRock and others raised a lot of campaign money for him at the time. And then what does he do? He goes and allows these companies to manage the retirement funds for public employees. So we know it's a pay to play, but Hillary exploited a loophole so that all that cash could come in at her fundraisers. So there you go. But the hypocrisy doesn't stop there. Now today, her thing in Ohio, or maybe it was in Florida, excuse me, she brings out Miss Universe, Miss Machado. She rolls her out, Miss Machado reintroduces Hillary Clinton to bring back around the scandal. This is how you know they're all out of ammo. They're dying here because they're bringing back out their October surprise, Miss Alicia Machado, to reiterate that Trump is bad for women and he doesn't care about women. When Hillary Clinton herself decades ago set the precedent, showed what her principles are when it came to how she is the champion for women and children, when she defended a rapist who raped a 12-year-old girl, raped her so brutally that she was put in a coma for about 5 days, woke up, had to have surgery, was told she would never be able to have children. And the Federalist wrote a really great article today about how Hillary Clinton learned how to manipulate the law by defending this child rapist. Now, we actually had Kathy Shelton in studio today to retell this story and to talk a little bit about how it feels to have had her life destroyed by Hillary Clinton, in 1975, and then years later having to hear this woman say how sexual assault survivors deserve to be believed.
You look at Hillary Clinton's career, and it baffles me so much that she has been allowed, mostly by our mainstream press and to the shame of her own party, to somehow be held up as some kind of champion for women and fighter for justice for children through 40 years of her career, when time after time she's chosen the side of rapists just to make herself look good.
I want to send a message to every survivor of sexual assault. Don't let anyone silence your voice. You have a right to be heard, and you have a right to be believed. We're with you.
Hillary's on tape laughing, saying that she knows that they're guilty.
I have been Congress, which he passed, which forever destroyed my faith in Congress.
And has made some other remarks down the line, and I'm standing up for what's right for me because I know it happened, and she's trying to make me look like a liar and that I asked for it and all that. And
by the way, we should pull up a photo of you when you were 12. That's online. People can also go to theirlivesfoundation.net. We can put that website on screen for people so we can personalize this. I mean, you were a little girl. I have a 12-year-old daughter. I have an 8-year-old daughter. And, before I had daughters and children, I would get upset hearing about abuse of women and children. But now, I'm going to be honest, it makes me just start feeling very violent whenever I think about people abusing little girls, especially.
Sat down at the crime lab for those efforts to reform the environment. Crime lab took a pair of underpants, neatly cut out the part that they were going to test, and tested it.
Now, that's Hillary bragging to journalists she thinks are her friends that she cut the blood out of his underwear, her blood. And she's getting off on it. It's like, what frickin' planet does this demon come from? And that's the thing. In all the WikiLeaks, which confirms everything you said, they get off on bad. Where they could do better doing good, they don't. They want to do bad.
Well, she talked about having public positions versus private positions, and apparently public position is I need to be a defender of women and children. Private position?
I cut the blood off his underwear.
I'm proud of getting somebody off like this. I just want to win.
I want to send a message to every survivor of sexual assault. Don't let anyone silence your voice. You have a right to be heard, and you have a right to be believed. We're with you.
My fellow Americans, my fellow humans on planet Earth, there is an epic, legendary awakening of nationalism and populism happening from the Brexit to the Donald Trump phenomenon to Russia pulling out of the New World Order and arresting the bankster oligarchs. Humanity's will for self-determination and freedom is expressing itself. The great classical liberalisms of Thomas Jefferson and Francis Bacon are reawakening right now. And it's because of the historical times we live in that Infowars is going to embark on an unprecedented 52-hour broadcast. We've done 24-hour broadcasts before, but we've never gone 52 hours. This Monday, from 11 a.m. Central, right through Tuesday, right into Wednesday, when the Wednesday show ends at 3 p.m. Central, we will broadcast for an unprecedented, legendary, over-the-top 52 hours live. The second great awakening is taking place. We are in the dawn of a new era of renaissance, of rediscovery and human liberty. Donald Trump, the Brexit, Infowars, Matt Drudge, Breitbart, WorldNet Daily, and so many others are only one small manifestation in the fire of liberty that is now exploding across the globe. Most people just discovered there's a war going on for their minds. Yes, in the last 50 years, it's a new kind of war, mind war. We have truth, the globalists have lies. And as a sleeping giant awakens, the terror in the globalist psyche only intensifies. Join us and spread the word about the awakening. It all kicks off this Monday, November 7th, 2016 at 11 a.m. Central at Infowars.com/show.
The bottom line on nuclear weapons is that when the president gives the order, it must be followed. There's about 4 minutes between the order being given and the people responsible for launching nuclear weapons to do so. As president, I will make it clear that the United States will treat cyber attacks just like any other attack. We will be ready with serious political, economic, and military responses.
They're voting for peace on planet Earth if they vote for Trump. But if they vote for Hillary, it's war.
We came, we saw, he died.
With her, you'll end up in World War III.
I want the Iranians to know that if I'm the president, we will attack Iran.
Right now, Senator, for us to control all of the airspace in Syria would require us to go to war against Syria and Russia.
The U.S. military has just raised the threat level to DEFCON 2. Meanwhile, Hillary Clinton is still threatening Russia with military action following unconfirmed reports of further hacking. It's like she's not even concerned about the repercussions.
Of course not, because she's...
Look, there's a really loud noise.
All right, looks like we're having a little bit of technical difficulties. We'll try to get Leanne back on in a few minutes.
When the president gives the order, it must be followed.